Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Mendham. It's not really back that far. It's probably some stuff here and some stuff up here maybe. But back there, nah, there's nothing good back there. Nothing of interest to you anyway. For me, it's kind of like the fun stuff is back there, but for you, it's probably not, Anyway, so some appropriate title, no doubt, like Do Not Invite Disaster. Maybe we'll keep it simple. So just a thought that occurred in a couple of different contexts. But I'll get to that. First, announcements, maybe. There usually isn't too much to announce, so I guess I'd get rid of this thing. I should have rebooted the computer. Oh, that's not a very good picture. Anyway, I should have rebooted the computer. Amanda has made her invite to the anti-natalist community to make videos and such, trying to be eloquent in presenting the theory of your anti-natalism, either as a beginner or as somebody who has thought about it for a while, and for prizes and whatnot. You don't get any cigarettes or anything good, but there's prizes. Yes, it's an annual thing, and people should all participate and try. Maybe I'll try to do something better than this that I usually do. I'm like the composer type. It takes me a little while, but when I do come up with something, it's perfectly charming. But I'm not too good at the do it now thing. It's all building towards some great opus type thing. I'm opusing. All right. That's what I'm anticipating that I will get to that point where, yes, in hindsight, it will look like it was all planned and it's just a perfect creation, but it just can't look that way in the process of the making, of the brilliance, something like that. And of course, these are just rationalizations to make excuses for why I'm underperforming. But it's, I always just go back to my lame excuse that yes, I seem to be doing the best I can. It seems that way. I'm certain I could squeeze more horsepower out of this, but it seems like apparently I can't. As much as I think I should be able to, I just don't seem to be able to. So it just happens to be the way it turns out. So anyway, link below to the official 4th annual video, and blah 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 blah. Not to yes, it's just the way things are. And there really hasn't been too much, frankly, content that's worth mentioning, on the internet. It's probably not even worth. I mean, it's just such a distractingly minor subject. Snake Plisskenus did make a video about. It's just an interesting character. He did the whole homeless thing, the whole ruined life, the whole quit being a lazy drug user kind of thing, change your life, become a human being. And apparently it's all some strategy to impress a girl. Because now that he has actually amassed a fortune, and can afford to take a vacation, he's going to use those resources to go try to force somebody to love him or something. It's sort of an amateur man's move. You get a little bit of experience and you realize, the bait is intriguing, but it's just bait on a hook, and if you just don't bite, you don't have to do all that getting reeled in, and no air to breathe, and you can't get the hook out of your mouth, and so you got to be really careful. And the last thing you want to do is hook a woman, get hooked by, let's say, somebody who's really not interested, because then they'll just, anything that goes wrong, they'll resent you for it, or something like that. I've seen that in relationships anyway. Very delicate thing, this finding the right person to live your life with thing, and it's really just something I don't think you can force it to happen. You really got to just somehow, it all just works, you just somehow, because it's, I don't even know if it ever works, though. That's the problem. Very hard to find any of those relationships that are really, where you say, gee, that's that aren't just interdependencies, that just really aren't parasitic relationships, and the parasites have found a way to live with each other, and it's just like, it's a little disgusting. They're just picking it's like they're eating bugs off of each other or something. It's like nothing's really beautiful about it. I mean, there's some enduring relationships that are just that horrible, role playing and all that kind of crap. So in a sense, this is almost an anti-natalist message, just in the sense that your first obstacle is you have no realistic hope that this thing you call a relationship has any endurable substance, that it won't just turn to shit after a few years. And it'll turn to shit with a bunch of kids. They'll be, tossed around in the drama of the shit, And that's a bad, now you're really almost being child abusers, to do your home wrecking right in the middle of the maturation of the children is, not a good thing. But you would think there's so many kids that are the byproduct of that. You would think you wouldn't even have to talk about antinatalism, because there'd be so many kids who saw how it just doesn't really work. And everybody is just a parasite. Why would I want to give birth to parasites? Yuck. I mean, I'm just thinking realistically, if you look at some of these relationships that people are the byproduct of, it's one thing to ask the question to yourself, would I want to give birth to me? Would I want to have a me? Just knowing who I am or who I was in my life, would I really want to create that person again? And with all the vulnerabilities of what that person could have turned into if it wasn't for a few humbling experiences that gave you character and made you something that you can actually admire. Like if you have some character aspects that you're grateful for having because somebody else basically taught you, or because life taught you in some brutal way, or you just missed the horrible, wow, I almost cut my arms off accident, and so now you have some respect for having your arms cut off. It's like you're in a car and the passenger gets, whacked, and you survive, and you might gain a little bit of respect for what the fuck's going on. Those kind of experiences, and those experiences are the only thing that really prevented you from being an asshole, with venereal diseases and all kinds of other bullshit going on. And that's who you would have been. It's just some sort of not a really nice person, because you never gained any appreciation for how this struggle is a mutual struggle among equal individuals trying to gain something called comfort. And you might be able to figure out that the admirable trait is the person who can gain their comfort at minimal expense. Low maintenance people are what we should be admiring. People who aren't high maintenance. And it seems people are, the culture is exactly the opposite. It has all this respect for these people who squander and piss away resources like the blood wasn't real blood. They don't look at the money and see the blood and the work and the effort that goes into creating the value, and they just watch it get pissed, and they think that's brilliant. when it's disgusting. But anyway, but do you think there'd be a lot of young people, these, millennials and such, who would have some appreciation for how tricky life is? Because, they could ask these obvious questions. So first you ask the question about yourself, and you kind of know, yeah, I was about 4 centimeters from being a total jackass, and making a mess, and hurting people, and doing all kinds of things, and I got lucky. Most of us, I think, could say we got lucky in our lives. And then the more interesting question would be, I know it's hard to believe there's a question more interesting than pondering whether you would want to create yourself, or something that would start off as you started, with a whole world of experiences that could turn them into any kind of imbecile. Like imagining myself being born in Islam, I could argue that, oh shit, how could I avoid becoming a fanatic in a country full of fanatics? Wouldn't my competitive instincts maybe compel me to be a mullah? I could be the most wackiest of the wacky. Anyway, and it'd be humiliating to think of yourself in that role. But part of me says, big long blonde beard, I just don't see it. No, just don't see it. Anyway, it just doesn't seem like that would fit on me. Like I have immunity or something. I feel like I do, but I kind of logically know, no, you could have been one of them. Ooh. Well, anyway, the more interesting question is, would you give birth to your parents? Would you create one of those assholes? Now, for me, it's sort of an easy question just because my parents were so solid, as human beings. Very few really major in any way character flaws. Trying their best and all that kind of stuff. Responsible. Weren't always looking for some scapegoat to blame for a problem. Kind of dealt with things, disciplined, all that kind of crap. Pretty good. No alcoholisms, no bullshits. No profound dysfunction. But you look at all these modern parents and you see all kinds of dysfunction, all kinds of crap. There's got to be people who are saying, no, I wouldn't want to make my parents. They were jerks. I love them and all that bullshit, but yeah, no, if my kid was turning into my mother or my father, they'd be like, shit, I was hoping for better than that. You'd think there'd be some saying that. Just because of the level of dysfunction that's out there. And it's so obvious, the failures, the out-of-control drama bullshit. Yeah. So in that context, those are just kind of thoughts, ways of analyzing this risk equation you're exposing the world to. So it's not only are you thinking about things like, well, what if, the worst happens? So you've invited disaster, okay, by saying, let's play with something where the worst that could happen is really disastrous. Siamese kids, horribly deformed and attached at all kinds of weird locations, and just horrible. Shudder. And then the autism and all the other crap that just suck and kill and destroy. Just a black hole of disaster that just starts ripping your flesh right off you. The gravity of the disaster is so humongous that it'll just tear your flesh off as you move through your life. Why invite it? When you could watch cartoons instead of having kids. You could eat apple pie. You could have double ice cream cone. You could do lots of things besides having children, because this game just doesn't look very playable unless you're lucky. And if you're unlucky, that's disaster. That's really, you can't clean it up. It's it stains permanently. You know how much. I mean, that's really annoying. I mean, I got some permanent stains on here now, and they're permanent. You're just, I'm fucked. Permanent stain. There's just, you can't do anything about it. Got to start over. Got to buy new. And you can't clean up the stains are only stains, right? And they bother us. Stains don't feel. Stains don't do a lot of things. But we're bothered by stains. Imagine being bothered by accidentally cutting your kid's hand off or something. That's, a stupid car accident you had because of a stupid not paying attention, and your kid has to go through the rest of his life without his arm or something. Imagine living through that. Ooh. But most people will imagine it by pretending it can't happen, and then we know that if it does happen, they'll just rationalize. They'll scapegoat. They'll blame the universe or blame somebody else or whatever. They'll find some way to escape the pain of acknowledging. So, in this context, I had a couple of weird thoughts. So, I did talk about it a little bit on the physics channel for no good reason, just because it happened. But anyway, there was two things. One night I'm going to bed, right? I'm going to sleep, and my brain just started thinking over my past mistakes. Things I did that I should just tell you what they were, but they're not really major enough. And it's almost like I don't even want to. I don't know how to analogize them. But yeah, it's just embarrassing, and you're just like, yeah, I did something really stupid, and yes, nobody got killed, but it could have been, a very bad thing that happened to people because of a oversight on my part, complete, just negligent oversight, a mistake, and you're saying a mistake I really shouldn't have made, but it's understandable. It's like having a car accident. I mean, you can always, in hindsight, say, oh, I should have been paying more attention. I should have done this. But, that's hindsight. It just really doesn't have anything to do with the practical real world where your brain is thinking, you got worries, you got concerns, you're not paying attention as much as you should, and that's going to happen to you. You're not going to be quite as focused as you should be focused because you're thinking about something, or you just had an argument with somebody, or you're distracted a little bit, and it's not a lot, but it's enough, and you say, yeah, that's how accidents happen. And you feel stupid. And well, anyway, so I just, every life has some of that shit, I'm sure, and I have a couple of those, and they're just, there's nowhere to put them because they are embarrassing still. 40 years later, you're still saying, Jesus Christ, why did I let that happen? Why did I do, I shouldn't, that shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have been that stupid. And, that kind of regret, you can't do anything with it, and it doesn't mean anything, but it is harping. It is just kind of a little harpy thing in your brain that just says you suck in some way, even though you feel okay. Like, even though it's just a taint. It just puts a taint on things when your brain does those kind of things just to take the fun out of it. It's like I don't know, you could be feeling good about you lost 10 pounds and you did this and this, and then you got acne or something, and it just ruins the fun of it, because, oh yeah, I lost 10 pounds, but I got pimples and shit or something. It's just some annoying thing that just shows up in life to just kind of poke at you and jab you in these negative ways. So I had those kind of thoughts, and it was just kind of a shitty way to go to bed. And then I woke up, and all kinds of, everything that could go wrong in a sequence of events kept going wrong. There was a little mess. And you try to clean it up, and you bend over, and your back gets thrown out. And then you go to get the back brace, and you smash your fingers in the drawer. And then you go. It was just one of those mornings where everything just started spiraling into a bigger and bigger pile of stench, duty. And you're just like quicksand. The more you're fighting with the the more it's grabbing you and sinking you, and you're saying like everything I'm doing to try to correct this problem is making the problem worse. But you know, I can't ignore the problem, so you have to struggle with it. And so then I was saying, you know, well, I'd sure like to do that over this morning over again. But then as soon as I said that, I'm saying, no, that's inviting disaster, right? I've avoided real disaster in the sense I didn't lose my leg. You know, lots of things that could have been worse. Like, you know, I could have tripped and bashed my head and, you know, half drowned or something and become, you know, lose 100 IQ points and, you know, some kind of horror. And so I'm saying, well, yeah, okay, it was bad. It was a shitty morning. Nothing went right. But frankly, do I really want to risk taking the chance of doing it over? Because doing it over means I could have some horrible allergy attack and you sneeze and you break a blood vessel in your eyeball or something. And who knows what could have happened, right? All kinds of bad things could have happened. So why invite disaster? Why don't I just take my losses? Like, you know, I lost 50 cents. Okay, 50 cents, who cares? Why risk losing 50,000? And that's the lottery of this game people are playing. I mean, these are real horrors. You know, there's real skull and crossbone tickets in the hat. You know, some of the tickets are really cool, like a triple orgasm. Wow, I got a triple orgasm. But there's a whole bunch of fucking horror in there also. And why do I want to play this stupid reach your hand in and pull out the stupid tickets? Why does anybody want to do that? Why would I want to subject a kid to doing that? You know, just visualizing some kid going through their yearly life, you know, drawing these tickets, leukemia, you know, crooked penis, all kinds of shit they can be pulling out of that fucking hat. You know, why would I enjoy watching that? So now we go all the way back to why I'm an antinatalist, right? And it doesn't have anything to do with any profound philosophy. It just has to do with the fact that I realized, like when I was 7, I don't like drawing out of a hat. You find out, like you ask questions about the world, right? You say, why does that guy have only one leg? And you get some glib answer, it's God's will. You know, he was unlucky. And you're like, what? So any old day I can just get whacked and I only got one leg? You know, because I'm unlucky or because God has some kind of plan? You know, he's going to have me like limp in front of a bus and then have the bus run over a pedophile or something. I don't know, some kind of weird scenario he's got where he's going to use me as fodder for some other plan he has to assassinate some other guy you don't like or some kind of bullshit. And it was just this idea of being subjected to this world that I don't get to control anything, right? Where even if I work hard and I do everything. I take naps at the proper time in school, and you know, I try to learn how to count to 2, and I do all this bullshit. And I try not to complain too much, and I, you know, wash behind my ears and whatever. I'm guaranteed nothing. No frickin' immunity from getting your leg whacked off. That's why I'm an antinatalist, is because that doesn't make any sense to me. I wouldn't do it to myself. I wouldn't like watching somebody do it. So that's the key thing, right? Is that in imagining myself as a parent, I couldn't imagine how I would enjoy watching that. Watching somebody reach their hand in. Somebody I care about. I'm supposed to care about them. I imagined that I would care about my child, especially if it was like a little girl, you know. And and I'd be like, I'd be a father, and I'd be like protective. I can't imagine enjoying watching this process of reaching your hand in to this trap, to this bear trap, and just seeing if you can pull out the cheese. You know, like a mouse or something. You're going to fool the trap. I'm going to sneak in there and grab that cheese, and I'm not going to get trapped. And so that was sort of the image, was me thinking about my kid as a little baby rat, little baby mouse or something. Squeak, squeak, squeak. I'm going to go get cheese from the trap. And why would I want to watch that? You know, how could I say that would be fun? Oh yeah, that's something great. I can't wait till I get to do that. Till I get to watch my children being vulnerable to the vagaries of a cruel world. I mean, wow, yeah, that just sounds like a swell time. So, clearly, I mean, I had so much more perspective than my parents. At age 7, I was way ahead of them, so to speak, in terms of thinking ahead. And they were just caught up in the game. And I was clearly saying, what game are we playing? Which seemed a rational question to ask, right? Is what game are we playing? Fucktard or, you know, rational? Are we playing fucktard or are we playing logic and rational? And clearly they were playing fucktard, and I was thinking about, well, where's the line for playing rational? Because I'd like to play the rational game, the one that makes sense, the one that doesn't invite disaster. And so yeah, it was that simple, really. Never, once you have those thoughts, I mean, once you start thinking about your son, okay, with one arm because he cut his arm off with a lawnmower because you let him cut the grass when he was 10 years old and he really wasn't old enough or responsible enough, or you gave him the keys when he was 16 years old to the car and he drove it into a fucking tree and now he's drooling in a fucking wheelchair. Once you have those perspective, that sense of what you're inviting into your life, yeah, there's just no reason for you to say, yeah, this is a good idea. I'm going to go send out the invitation. I'm going to go send an invitation to disaster, put his address on, put my return address label on, nice embroidered envelope, and I'm going to send an invitation to disaster to come fuck me over. You know, just to rape me in the ass. Why would I do that? So once you have that thought, you're done. You're an antinatalist. You're just never going to have a fun time thinking about having kids. It's never going to be a selfish act on your part because it's going to be like, why the fuck would I want this problem? Why would I want to watch a kid reaching his hand into a bear trap for candy? For superficial, trivial candy. No chance. And even if you think in some sort, well, he'll find love, you know, in the pussy of a, you know, golden whatever. And, you know, we already know that's not very practical. That most people don't find that perfect relationship, that perfect anything. They just find a bunch of sticky, gluey, rancid, you know, it's a sticky trap, right? Yeah, okay, that's probably the way to put it. Relationships are like not like the snap trap. They're like a sticky trap. It's like you step one foot in and you think you're going somewhere, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, every hair in your body, everything is stuck, and you're just totally now ruined. You have no freedom. You are completely confined by the sticky trap mistake. It's taken away all. Yes, you're doomed to just sit there and watch your life pass, because you will not be in control of anything. The other will be, and then the little monsters will be, and you're done as a free thinking, feeling. I really didn't need to have this on the screen all this time, did I? No, you didn't. My mouse isn't really working correctly. Always something with me, right? I always have. Not a great picture. Sorry, it wasn't my fault. I didn't put that in this order. I took some clunkers this week. So anyway, yeah, the life. I mean, clunker. It's just another way of looking at this. Is that there's so many clunkery kind of draws in that hat. You know, where you are making trade-offs, not between two really great outcomes, but a lot of mediocre outcomes. Like, I could have redrawn this morning. You know, I could have reached into the hat, so to speak. You know, if I could do a redo. And yes, the truth is I probably wouldn't, on the redo, get paralyzed. The odds against it were pretty, you know, it's not a high probability. But it's a real one. And the real probability is that, okay, it won't be spilt milk, but it'll be spilt tomato juice. It'll just be some other kind of slop, and some other kind of duty, and some other kind of pain in the ass, and some other kind of, you know, totally unrewarding consumption of my conscious time. I will spend my consciousness will have to work on this stupid problem, and it won't be able to do anything creative or imaginative or adventurous or fun. But even that, again, turns into another trap. In terms of... so another thing that came up was what the nature of entertainment. You know, because somebody's kind of persuading me to watch a certain thing because somehow I would be entertained. And, and it just seems very unlikely, given what it was, that you're just like, oh, come on, how do you even calculate how this could be entertaining? But that did draw me to the subject of anime, and then into Speed Racer when I was a kid and watching it. So I watched some of the episodes, and I couldn't believe how bad they really were. Just because as a kid I didn't think they were that bad. But they're really bad. I mean, the artwork sucked in a lot of respects. I mean, birds with big, giant, floppy, just really horrible. And then there was so much of it the dialogue was horrible. And so much of it was just dead space, where they had a 5-minute story and they were trying to turn it into a 15-minute story, and it was just a lot of hemming and hawing trying to get to the story, because it's like they just had nothing to fill the story with, so they just filled it with scenery going by or some kind of crap. And well, anyway, but it's that whole idea that we have this perception of things that have meaning and value and substance, and that can evaporate really easy, with some sort of new examination or some examination through a broader or enlightened perspective. You gain a little bit of knowledge, and you understand how, oh fuck, I had to be retarded to be entertained by that. I mean, it's just so lowbrow, so to speak. Now, I'm not dissing Speed Racer. It had some components that are perfectly sufficient to entertain a 10-year-old. But yeah, it's a little short for a 58-year-old. And everything is just a stupid idea too. If you recognize that, why is anything, even if I do the enhanced production that my 58-year-old sensibilities require, it's still just the same stupid story. It's good conquering evil. It's just watching somebody else spill the milk and then clean it up in some fancier way. But I'm just saying, it's just a story about make a mess, clean up the mess, fall in a trap, dig your way out of the trap. I mean, invite disaster, and then in some way manage to not let disaster get drunk and really fuck the party. So at least that's like inviting disaster and somehow managing disaster just right. It's like inviting a grenade to dinner, and having the grenade sitting there at the table, just looking at you going, I'm a grenade. And you're just saying, well, we're going to be careful. We're not going to vibrate the table too much, and we'll cut our food very carefully, and we'll blah, blah, blah. And maybe everything's plastic, just no metal to, make the grenade unhappy or give them a little nervous attack or anything. No electricity things, no You know, but that's what you're doing, right? You're just putting like a pile of shotgun shells on, you know, on the table and saying, yes, everybody eat. You know, make noise, bang on the table. No, everybody's going to be like, nah, we're invited disaster. We got to be really careful. Because, you know, disaster can really get out of control once it starts. You know, like I said, once it gets a few drinks under its belt, you know, it can really foobar you. So, again, this is just another way for me to restate things I've stated before, in the sense that I'm an antinatalist because I'm risk averse. I'm especially insanely stupid and unnecessary risk. I mean, risk for something that isn't really what you think it is. It's just stale cheese in a crappy trap. And the only reason why I want it is because I'm starving. Because I am, I've been forced to be the vampire. I need the blood, you know, and that's it. The only reason I'm doing this vampire stuff, you know, I'm doing something stupid or mean, or is because, yeah, I'm a vampire, and if I don't drink the blood, I don't feel good. So I have to drink the blood. So I find an excuse to drink the blood. But that's where, I mean, when you have a little tiny bit of intelligence, you can figure out, oh, I'm a fucking vampire. Why am I doing that? And why would I have a vampire? Or why would I make somebody else into a vampire? I mean, that's fucking stupid. So that's why. Because there's no rational way to make inviting disaster, you know, eating dinner with a grenade, could ever be a sensible thing to do. Because it can't really. It doesn't have any value. There's nothing it can happen, okay, and no good, that isn't a consequence of the fact that you're addicted and nothing else. And if you never were addicted, you'd never invite grenades to dinner. So it's only because of your desperation, your deprivation, your need, that you would ever invite disaster. Because you think disaster is going to bring you some stale cheese. I mean, you're so desperate, you'll accept stale cheese from a grenade. And worse, you'll impose it on your children, which is really sick. And this is all in the context where you know some of this disaster. You know, I said, like, okay, you're drawing it out of a hat, and there's some chance you'll escape, but you kind of know that very few people get to escape, in the sense that, you know, there's some lucky ones who die in an instant, but a lot of us have to watch ourselves die. You know, we have to experience it. You know, we have to be afraid first, and then we have to go through the trauma, and then the fear, and the, you know, it's just a lot of horrible stuff that happens to people. And that's real. I mean, that's a real likelihood that you're not going to just poof out of your existence. You're going to, the grenade's going to go off. And you're just sitting here pretending, I'm escaping, I'm eating dinner with a grenade, and it's not a problem, I'm controlling. It's going off. You know, you're just pretending to win. Because you're going to lose huge. You know, this race is so far from over, and you know, you're declaring victory. I'm way ahead. Yeah, you're going to be way behind at the end. Okay, and you could see that in like celebrities and stuff. I remember Farrah Fawcett was a really, you know, it's just very sad. Or even John Wayne. You know, just, you know, by the end, you know, here they are. They were top of their game, kind of thing. Elvis Presley, even, come on, I mean, all these people top of their game. Yeah, okay, they're winning, but man, you know, crossing the finish line, yeah, they had loser written all over them. They were so far behind. You know, they got so passed by disaster. Disaster put its tread marks all over them, drove them into the asphalt. And they had to crawl home. You know, the last mile was a crawl. And so those seem obvious reasons to say this isn't a good enough game. Isn't that the simple answer? You're thrown into the world. Hey, I'm alive. I'm playing life on Earth as a human being. And you can already recognize that, gee, you got such an advantage to all these other animals that have to live out there in the real world and get bitten by things and eaten by things and chased by things and all this, rained on and snowed on, all kinds of crap they got to live with. Have all kinds of their pieces falling off and ripped off and scarred up. And you got such a benefit just, being human. But that's not nearly good enough. This game is really tough even as a human. It's nasty, the shit that can happen. So where was I going with that exactly? Yeah, so it's a game, you're just saying, and you're just evaluating, is this a game worth playing? And clearly, no. The Frankenstein monster is not a game worth playing. I mean, there's nothing you can do here that makes any sense but make the explosion bigger. Put more grenades and shotgun shells on the table. You're just increase the potential for the mess. And so, no reason to do that. Sorry, hot here still. Only another day of hot, and I'm going to be cool for a while. So that's annoying in a way. I am kind of a summer person. That's a good picture. A lot of clunkers in here, but a couple of them are not bad. Been so wet here last week. So I guess that's probably enough. Just going through the idea so it's just risk aversion, and I think that's a rational process, is this measuring your risk and saying, no, it's just not. Stale cheese, not worth the worst possible price you pay for that stale cheese. The sticky trap scenario just isn't worth the wonderful smell of the bait. Just not a good enough game. And none of it, like I said, playing it is annoying. Watching somebody you care about playing it is even more annoying, in my opinion. Because they can't do what you're doing. You're rationalizing your failure. You're rationalizing your bad luck. Because you have to keep motivated. You can't allow yourself to get depressed. But when you're watching somebody else, none of that takes place. So you don't do the rationalizing as well. Especially, like I said, when you care about somebody. Then everything that happens to them, you don't have excuses for it. You don't have really good rationalizations or ways of defending the harm. And it just sits there in your head for the rest of your life as harm. That should have never happened. That is unacceptable. You have it written right there. I have lots of events that were just unacceptable. What happened to the person was unacceptable. It's just not good enough. And it's not a good enough game. I don't think you can make it into one. It's always it's a negative first game. The game only exists because we're motivated to clean up messes. We're built to do it. We're built to do something disgusting. Drink the blood. Whatever you want to call it. However you want to metaphor it. We're built to do something fundamentally stupid. Out of this deprivation mechanism. Somehow we think we're winning because we're stopping the whip. And that's all that really is happening. We're being whipped to keep fighting to win. And we don't realize that stopping the whip is not winning. That's not winning. It feels like winning, but it's not winning. You still lost because you got whipped. You got whipped into playing. You didn't play because it was the right thing to do. You didn't play because you were really going to win. You played because you didn't want to lose, and that's all you did it for. Something like that. It's just a negative game. The game feeds on you being starving. Without your starvation, there's no feeding. Without your hunger, the game doesn't exist. Yeah. And so these are kind of easy things to know, right? And yet, people have to spend all this energy trying to get people to understand just something this simple. And it's mostly because people have this religion problem, or spiritual problem, or whatever it is, this idea that the game is bigger than just, twitchy little private parts, little, little buttons you press that make you feel good. And the good is unbad. They make you feel unbad. And that's really all that's happening. They're just little comforts for your, it's like taking away your zits. I mean, I give you the zits, and then I start taking them away. And you're going to feel like, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. You should have never been losing in the first place. So, you're not winning. You're just fighting and struggling, which are admirable things to do when you're doing it for a rational cause. But when all you're really doing is fighting and struggling to create a war, well, that's really dumb. You're fighting and struggling to make another fighter and another struggle, to make another mess for somebody else to clean up. You're putting another grenade on the table. This is not smart. Yeah. So vape a little bit just for the fun of it. Because I can. Alright, so that's probably enough. Yeah, I don't think I have to. I mean, the fundamental reasons are there. The fundamental reasons are rational risk aversion. The game isn't good enough by a rational standard. The value produced is vaporous. It really only exists in some sense because you've created a deficit, you've pushed something into a hole, and you're calling it good that it climbs back out. But that's really not a positive. It's just an unnegative condition. So it's a zero-sum game. The asymmetry is a rational concept in the sense that the goods just really don't have any value except as preventing harm. So, not being poor, not having cancer, it's only these not negatives that are positive. Everything that positive happens to you only is positive because there's a negative to compare it to. It's only positive relative to the negative. And what else? Yeah, so the rest of it is just about getting over the psychology part of I'm competitive. I want to play. We want to play. Not denying that. We want to play a game. It's like wanting to watch a TV show. And it's just a tragic thing to have to recognize, it's all synthetic. None of this food is edible. None of this stuff is worthy of being consumed. All of it's poison. All of it, it will not work. You're eating a grenade. And if it doesn't blow up tomorrow, it'll blow up the day after. It's just not going to work. Because it can't. So yes, it's depressing to say, I don't get to play. It's like you go when you're a kid or something, or even as an adult. Sometimes you go someplace and you find out the place is closed or something, and you're like, oh man, I was right in the mood for that. And you're like, bummer. You know, or I drove 20 miles and yeah, blah, blah. Or you go because, you know, every Friday a certain chick is at the bar. And so you go all the way to the bar and then you find, she ain't there this week. You know, she got married, you know, or something. And you're like, bummed. Hey, bummer. Yeah, so, you know, we all resist having to settle for nothing. Pie, you know, nothing. No game. Doesn't sound like it. That's a good choice. But I'm just saying it is the rational choice. It's just to recognize, you know, we're not playing a good game. Just reach your hand into the trap and pull out the stale cheese is not a good game. You wouldn't impose it on stupid aliens. You just stupid. Don't do it. It's dumb. That's the key, right? Only an idiot would play this game knowing what's really happening. You can't do it if you know what's happening, because it's so cruel. You know. So unless you're a sadist, but see, you can't be intelligent and be a sadist. So, you know, these things just can't happen. So there's really no way to be intelligent and not recognize that, yeah, as much as I'm competitive and as much as I'm really in the mood for a movie or I'm in the mood for a snack, there's nothing available. There's nothing in the pantry that's really edible. It's all made out of dog shit. You know, it's all got maggots in it. It's all infected. It's all plague. There's nothing in that pantry but plague. And so just go to sleep. Do something else. Just forget it. Walk away and recognize, hey, walking away isn't a disaster. Yeah, it's not fun, but it's not a disaster. And that's winning. That's walking across the finish line. All right, so maybe you're not going to win the race, but you won't be crawling across the finish line. You're going to walk across it. And big difference. Probably. Metaphorically, in a storytelling kind of way, I think you can understand that if you really think about it, it's just so much better not to invite disaster. Okay, so good enough. I think pretty much. Well, we'll go for one more picture just to see. See, this is like pulling pictures, is pulling life out of the thing, right? Just what will the picture be? You know, ooh, see how what kind of horror. Will it be plague, or will it be triple orgasm? Let's see. Snapping turtle is kind of ear. You know, it's not even a good picture of. You know, just because it was too far away and it was a bad angle, so you don't even get the real idea of it. So that picture's kind of dull. But this next one, what are we gonna get? What are blurry flower? There you go. And the background ones are kind of dull. You know, it's not even a nice composition in any way. So all you get is blurry blob and uninteresting background. So, was that worth risking disaster for? No. It's just more mediocrity. Another pile of Borgy, you know, okay, let's put our hand in again. You know, let's invite disaster. Okay, so this wasn't a disaster, but it's, you know, it wasn't fun either. It wasn't great. It was just fucking tedium. It was just another day grinding through crap where you're not inventing or imagining or enjoying or doing any of that stuff. You're just grunging. Oh, look, and we get another one. We pull out, and it's just another pile of boring. So at least the composition's a little better. We got this little interesting wooden stuff happening. So there's something here, but it's crooked and it's this, and not enough. This isn't worth risking. This isn't, this is not worth inviting disaster. Alright, so I think I made the point. Doesn't matter, though. That's the part that's bugging me. Doesn't matter if I make the point. Because people are just cement heads. And they're not listening anyway. So making the point just doesn't mean anything when you're not making it to the people that need to hear it. At least right now, this video. Maybe in 10 years this video will be heard by somebody that needs to hear it. But clearly it's not going to be heard by anybody who needs to hear it now. So this was almost disaster, right? Because that's a little bit too much. Ugh. So I don't know. See, these are the random... The camera's really buggy, so I end up taking pictures of things that shouldn't even been... They weren't on the schedule on purpose. And so much of your life is not on purpose. Most of your life are things like that. Crap that happens. Not crap you controlled, not crap you composed, not crap you intended. Most of it is just this random, no, wrong word. Most of it is just this formula of the grind of life. Okay, so now I think that's enough. Okay, so now I'll say one more time, don't invite disaster. Just don't. Find something less dangerous to eat. Or just go to sleep. Okay, take a nap for a very, very long time. Like forever. Oakley doke. And such.